Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Hello, Kate and Aaron. I
Hi,
see you.
everybody.
Hi.
Thank y'all for logging in. We're going to hear from Darla today, Mission MVP. MVP, most valuable player. You know, we're all valuable players, but it's great when we kick off this mission. We took a break from the summer. Over the summer, we took a little break, and then we're back today. And I thought, wow, we had Laura last week for Mission Mentor, and I was like, let's highlight another leader, woman leader in our company. And Darla, what a great person to start with, because, you know, I think I'm just going to be transparent. A lot of times when you're the director or when you're the EVP of people ops, it seems scary, but you're quite the opposite of that. And I thought, let's show how awesome you are and how fun you are, because
Thank you.
You're such a fun person to talk to, and you're so supportive. And recently, let me tell you what, I had an issue. Eric was out on vacation, and I woke up to an issue, and I immediately texted Darla, and I was like, I need you. And Darla was like, call me right now. And then she walked me through a crisis and gave me some great advice. I said, I need you as a leader. I said, you didn't know you're going to have to, and her daughter was sick the same day. I was like, you didn't know you're going to have to be a mom all around. And she was like, I got this. I know what I'm doing. And she sure did. And it really helped. So I just want to say again, thank you so much for your help and getting all that together. And just a quick announcement for those logging in now. We sent out a communication that the annual or the semi-annual background check is starting on Monday, correct?
Yes. So you guys should start to receive emails at your personal email, I believe is where it will go. I'll have to double check with Sarah. So check your personal and your work email, and check your junk folder just in case.
Because we want to make sure.
But they will start sending those out, on Monday.
And if you see a scratch on my face, it's true. Okay, I got into a fight last night with my cat. I got a kitten. She is like 8 or 9 weeks old. Her name is Fitz, F-I-T-Z, Fitz. It's so close, Spritz, yeah, but Fitz, because she gives fits. And my grandma had this cat pop up at her house, and she was like, Blaine, I've got the cat for you. This cat is for you. This cat is for you. And I said, it took her like 3 weeks to convince me to get the cat. And I'm so glad I did. She's about this big. My foot is double the size of her. I lose her quite often. And that was the case. Is last night I lost her in my house. And I woke up at 3 a.m. to her jumping on my face, attacking me. So if you can get close, I don't know, because I got this background, but I am covered in, it's like I've been in a war zone, but she is about half a pound.
I heard male cats are more affectionate and cuddly than female cats. I'm not sure if that's true. Yeah.
She hates to be held, but she likes to be near me. It's really interesting. And at first, when we got her, when we came together, when I got her, it was, I thought, ooh, I don't know how I'm going to handle this cat, because boy, she was a small little, Fitz is a good name because she throws her fits. Okay. She's got an attitude. And that's what I said to my grandma. I called her up and I said, oh, I see why this cat was for me. She said, because it's got a big attitude. I said, yeah. She said, yeah, that's why. I know. She said, you got an attitude. So that's funny, my family. But I love this little kitten. Just wanted to say, so if you do see this scratch on my face, I did survive. I did.
Eric didn't beat you up.
It wasn't Eric. It wasn't EPM. It was the love of my life, Fitz. Queen Fitz, to be exact. Yeah. So anyway, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Darla, so Mission MVP. The point of this call is just to highlight various leaders throughout the company and people who would go above and beyond. And we took a break over the summer. So if you're new to this, welcome. If you've been around for a while, you know how this goes. So we ask some questions. We just get to know Darla, and she's our EVP of People Ops. And you've been here a year, exactly, just about a year.
It'll be a year next week.
Next week, yeah. So
next Tuesday.
So welcome back, because you know we for the new folks, they might not know anything about you. So I thought you're the one who's making all the decisions for all the people. You know, so what a great opportunity to get to know you a little bit better and celebrate your year anniversary with EPM. And what a journey and a year it's been. So
it goes by so fast.
Quick. I always say time at EPM is different. It's just its own little wormhole here. It's like, you know, so much goes on and we work so fast and so hard. So it's always fun. But so we're going to get into talking about you. I'm going to not talk about my cat anymore, although I would love to. But Darla, let's talk about you. Who are you? Where are you from? What do you do? Tell us about you.
Yeah, so I am a mother to two amazing daughters, 28 and 23, and I have a granddaughter. Her name's Princess, and she is 14 months old. I'm born and raised in Northern California. I'm an only child, so I don't know. I'm kind of used to being a loner sometimes and doing things on my own and being very independent, but then I also miss a lot of that social interaction and thrive, just to be able to, be around other people. Um, yeah. And so I lived there pretty much my entire life, and I moved to Oregon about four years ago to put my daughter through college. So I went to college with Jasmine and saw a little too much that I wanted to see, probably things that parents worry about, but she survived. She graduated in June, and that's like one of my hugest parenting accomplishments is, putting your kids through college. So that's exciting.
Yeah, she graduated in May, right? Now you said before y'all logged in was
Yeah, it was beginning of June
June.
that she
Okay.
graduated. Yeah, they have a late
Yeah.
start, late graduation.
Time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is great. That's what Alan said. Alan, that's great. Congrats. Both of your kids gone and moved on. Now you're back to being alone in Eugene, Oregon.
I will be empty nesting all over again.
Just a few
So
weeks.
I'll be coming out to get some love a week or so after from
Please,
my other
please.
family.
Yeah, I'll have to invite you over to my house so you can, give me the mom to make me clean it. Okay. Because
Yeah, yeah.
I recently checked. Me and Darla were recently talking, and I said, "What? How was your weekend?" We were talking about the weekend, and she was like, I'm cleaning out my garage. So how is that
Yeah.
project going?"
Power washing. It's so fun adulting, isn't it?
It is the most relaxing thing because it's like that satisfying video when you just like power wash it and you see it go away in these lines. But
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be there for about 3 days, so we'll have to pack in as much time as possible to get stuff done.
we'll have to get an adult beverage together.
Yeah.
All right, so you've been here a year, so that's I want to kind of before we get into talking more about you, before we get I wanted to know since you've been here a year and gone through a year has flown by, but what do you think is the biggest thing that you've learned with EPM over the last year, or your biggest takeaway? I didn't ask you that question because I was holding that one.
Yeah. Biggest takeaway. Gosh, there's been so many. So much opportunity to spend time there in Atlanta. I remember when I first started in October, I stayed the entire month, just to be out there and to learn and get to know people on our team and in the office and really get to embrace the culture and how things are done. I really enjoyed that. I love our culture. I love the core values. They align with my personal values. So it's really easy to live them and be them every day. And flexibility. I think, things are constantly changing and evolving. And, in order to survive in this type of industry and market, and even my type of position, you've got to be able to be flexible and roll with the punches and, be open to growing and learning constantly. Things are always changing, especially, with COVID and, everything else that was happening over the last couple of years. It's definitely changing the environment of work.
Yeah, that's what I always say. EPM is a great place to continue to keep learning on your toes. Like, it's like you get to keep growing and changing and you really do learn so much. And that's what I was hoping you would say, but I can't.
Yeah, it's addicting.
It is like just keep growing and evolving and changing. It's really wonderful. And to hear the values align with yours too. I try to, during the new hire call each week that we do it, I always try to align that. It's like your personal values and EPM's values really are the same. Like you value these as well. It's just really cool to be in a place that does that. So speaking of your position, okay, how do you get into, well, human resources, but we call it people ops, right? People operations. So how do you get in? Because you said you wanted to be something different when you were a child. And we'll talk. Just how do you lead to be here? How do you get here?
Yeah, well, I think kind of like how people fall into mortgage. I think I just kind of fell into human resources. When I was younger, I was a Barbie fanatic, and I would, build Barbie houses and my rooms and the spare bedrooms and the landing and the hallway would turn into like a village. My parents get pissed off because they're constantly stepping on Barbie toys, but I wanted to be an architect and interior designer. And initially I was supposed to go to school, college for that. And, things change, turns of events when you get into high school, which I'll talk about later in this call, but I just kind of fell into it. I started in human resources in 95 at an Indian bingo and casino in Northern California. And, I would help with onboarding.
You said at a casino, you did HR?
Yeah.
Casino? Yeah. Okay, we're going to come back to that. We're going to put a pin in that one. Okay, sorry.
I know, it kind of reminds me of like Robert De Niro and Sharon Stone whenever, it wasn't anything crazy like that. That would have been exciting, but yeah. So that's where I started my human resources career. And then that was up in Northern California. And I really wanted to move back down to the San Francisco area where I was raised. I was living up in the boonies and by Sacramento. And so I relocated back down there, and my mom worked for Wells Fargo like her entire life since she was 18. And they had a new division. It was called Wells Fargo Securities or Wells Fargo Investments or something like that, and turned it into a private bank. And they had a brokerage operations position that was going to be open. And so for 6 months, every month they called it hiring freeze at the moment. And I remember the regional manager kept telling me, just check in every month. We may have an opening. And I was so persistent for like 6 months. I called this guy, and then he finally hired me. So I moved back down to the Bay Area. So I got out of HR for, a little bit. I went into stock, market, brokerage operations, financial planning, and got into a little bit of mortgage with home equity lines of credit and unsecured lines of credit and refinancing. So I did a little bit of that. And then I went into tech for a while and did project management and was a tech support supervisor. And then my daughter started doing competitive cheerleading, and one of her friends' moms that was, on the team, we would travel together, and she actually worked for a mortgage company. And she was like the chief people officer that, at the time, and they needed somebody within HR. And that time I was working HR for a construction company, and there was a lot of chaos that was going on between the owners and whatnot. And so she asked me if I wanted to come work for them. And that's kind of how I got back into mortgage and HR. At the same time, getting back into the business there. But I've been in human resources for about 12 years now. And, I got my master's in counseling. So I went through a marriage and family therapist program. It was a 2-year program. And I thought I wanted to, be a therapist and open my own practice and do everything. And by the time I got to internship time and to get all of the credits that I need to become a licensed, psychiatrist or therapist, it was like minimum wage to do all of that. And I already had Jasmine and Marlena at that time, and I couldn't take a pay cut. So, and it was very stressful. Like I went to therapy to do therapy because you're dealing with people that have chronic, mental health issues, and it could be very stressful. And you're dealing with children that have been abused, and, whether that's mentally, physically, or sexually. So it was interesting. Yeah, it does come in handy in the mortgage industry. So at that point in time, I knew that I really liked helping people, and I liked being a resource and making an impact and a difference in other people's lives. And human resource does that. We are somewhat counselors, at times, and we are a resource, not only for the employees here, everybody. Actually, I like to consider ourselves as, the heartbeat of the organization. We have all of the data. We are a resource for employees in so many different facets, benefits, vacation policies, keeping everybody, up to date with all of the policies and procedures, and making sure that workflows are operating smoothly. And so we're doing a lot of things behind the scenes, more so than being visible. But I think our roles are pretty important.
For sure. I was going to say, one thing that people don't know is how much you have to go to bat for things too, like, you know, getting everything on the same page. Like when you kind of like revolutionized our vacation time and sick time last year, you were like, no, this is better. You know, you're like, I am fighting for you to get more. And I was
Yeah.
like, I consider you the heartbeat of the company too. You know, you especially like your team and everything, you just really provide so much. You, Dana, Sarah, and Noah.
It can be complex, right? Because
Yeah.
we're a national organization. You know, at this point in time, we have employees in about 35, 36 states right now, and we're expanding. And so it gets very complex. Different states have different laws, and, you know, trying to mesh all of them together can be pretty, you know, complex at times. And so, you know, we have to make sure we're compliant and that the employees are happy. And so it can be a little bit of a tug of war sometimes, but yeah. I like my job. I like the challenge, and I like being a resource to people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was going to say, what is probably your favorite part of what you do? Other than the resource part, but you know.
Yeah, the resource part. Well, the least part is graduations, right?
Yeah.
That's, no one likes to do that. That's not the fun part. I would say one of the funnest parts is, you know, when we get to onboard and bring new people on. You know, our department is the first, you know, touchstone besides business development before, you know, they actually come on board. So just ensuring that they're feeling included, that they understand what's happening along the way, that they're not left in limbo, not knowing, you know, what the next steps of the process are. And when they do come on board, you know, that they're getting all the warm and fuzzies and feeling welcomed and getting the attention that they need, right? And to make sure that they have that white glove experience. So I take a lot of pride in that. We have a pretty, you know, pretty good system in place to make sure that we're, you know, dotting all of the I's and crossing the T's. And if anyone doesn't have a good experience, I would love to hear about it, because that's not cool.
Right. And one of the great things about you, to me, there's many things. You're a lot of fun. You're fun to talk to. You're fun to drink with. Okay, I shouldn't say that out loud, but you're a fun time. But also you're so efficient at your job too. So like I think a big kudos to you is you really pull together the resources to create a better onboard experience based off of what you saw was a need, and you really did a great job of pulling it together and then creating this, you know, I don't know what the right word is. I want to say program, but, you know, just an experience as you come on board.
Yeah.
You remember, I was going to say, like, we did the new hire orientation that I get to lead, the culture side of it. It was like, we had to sit there and we had to go through it and learn each piece of it and learn how to talk about the values and all of this stuff. So it was not just a, hey, do this. It was a lot of training went into it as well. You really put a lot of thought into it. So speaking of your efficiency, right? And you've worked about 18 different industries in different capacities. So how do you approach work? Like, what are some points you could give for us, like, you know, to be more organized or to be on top of things the way that you are?
Well, I time block a lot of stuff. I have checklists as well. You know, at the end of each day, I try to take time just to kind of go over what I went through, you know, within that day, and then what I need to do the next day. I'm constantly looking at my calendar. What else do I do to stay organized? Reminders. A lot of the time, I'm in so many different projects too. I think meeting with, you know, my leader, Eric, every week and just going over the projects that I'm working on and just, you know, holding ourselves accountable and keeping up with the communication on that. And then whenever I get off of a meeting, if there's notes that I need to take, I make sure that I'm writing down notes or I'm wrapping up that process before I move on to something else, because you never realize how much you forget within like a conversation or, you know, a meeting if you're not taking notes. So I highly encourage people to take notes, especially when you're meeting, you know, with your leader. If you're going on one-on-ones, it's, you know, it's helpful for you to be able to look back and reflect, you know, on what you've discussed. So then that way you make sure that you're not missing anything.
I will say real quick, I know Eric is happy because you didn't say boss and you said leader. Okay. But we know he loved that. He's laughing right now, but that's an inside joke because he's like, don't call me boss. And I go, what are you? He says, I'm your leader. I said, take me to your leader. No, it is so fun. And we all have like a great little working relationship together too. And so it's really wonderful. And how do you feel being as a remote employee? Like how, too. So does that go into your experience as in your role being remote as well? And most of our workforce is remote.
Yeah, I think it takes a certain type of individual to work remote. I mean, some people can get distracted very easily. I've fortunately worked remote for, oh God, it's been probably 8 years now. So I'm used to it. I started out working hybrid, and that really helped me kind of get into the mindset. And it has its advantages and disadvantages. I like being able to work independently and not be distracted with the day-to-day, office when you do work in the office. But then there's times where I feel like I have FOMO and I'm missing out with all of the fun stuff that happens in the office. So that's why I try to, hop on virtual calls with people, or, recently I've started sending little notes, like little cards to people randomly.
Oh, you can't
yeah, just to, just to connect with other people, and see how other people are doing and let them know that I'm still here.
This is a note you actually sent me here.
Yeah.
So I loved it. You said, just want to say hi and thank you for always having a smile on your face. Keep shining. And I loved it. It's so sweet.
Yeah.
It meant a lot. I was like, oh, you took time out to think of me.
So it's little things like that. So eventually everyone will get a note someday, but I try to send out 4 or 5 a day. Yeah.
And when Eric was gone on vacation, I didn't read it or anything, but I saw that you had sent him a note, and I was like, oh, he's going to love that because Eric is a card giver too. That's a dying art. Card giving is like a dying, people don't do that often. So I love that you're keeping it going.
It's just little things, if you can find just one little thing that you can brand yourself with that makes a difference or impact with other people, it really is rewarding. Just to be able to give that, and that little happiness to somebody.
Yeah. I was gonna, let me put my background back up. Sorry. I feel naked now. Without it, I like it. It's on. And now that we match. So my next question then is, because that I just want to know, like, what is something about you that we would be shocked to kind of learn, like, because sometimes I know when you have to sit on very important calls, right, you have to kind of go into
like serious mode,
but you're actually quite the opposite of that. And as a person, you're very fun. You're always doing events. You're always going places. You've worked some fun jobs that I don't know if we can talk about on here.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, but you have a lot of fun. Like, you're just a fun person. You have,
Eric has his hand raised.
Oh, what is Eric got going on?
I don't know if Darla wants me to say this or not, but Darla has a tattoo, or a few.
I do. Yes. I have a half sleeve on my left, and on my back, on my left arm.
But in general, just talking to you, you wouldn't know that. Like here, it's hard to see, but I know that you have a tattoo. So there's a story there, and if you want to share it or not, but I think that's something that's great about you, is you have your own personality, and you're an outgoing, fun individual that sometimes that, a title can overshadow who a personality is. And so I just want people to know what an amazing person you are.
Thanks. Yeah, I would say, the HR is definitely, I guess my separate personality, because I have to be, a certain way. Roman raised his hand too.
Oh, Roman.
I was getting off mute. No, I was trying to do the celebration clap for what Eric was
saying.
It just stalled on me.
He matches us too. He matches his background.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, but I really am a fun, open person, and I'm a great listener, and I like to have too much fun sometimes, but work is work, and there's, time and place for everything.
Never too much fun. You can never have too much fun.
No,
okay, so
I agree.
You spoke of the values and how you live the 4 core values. Let's remind you all: show the way, own unique, unify through collaboration, and struggle well. Those are the 4 values, core 4 values of EPM. So I always like to ask, we're getting to the end, we've got about 5 minutes. So I always like to ask the same 2 questions at the end, which is, which do you relate to and why? And then what does empowering people more, which is our mission, mean to you? So let's start with the 4 core. Which one do you relate to the most?
I would say unify through collaboration. It's kind of a tie, and show the way. But I love to collaborate. I feel like there's so many different projects that I'm working on behind the scenes where I am collaborating with different departments. And I love sharing a difference of ideas and being able, to build and enhance services and workflows, which is really cool. So I definitely enjoy that. And then I really do strive to show the way, and just, really be positive. My Clifton Strengths top 5, my number 1 is positivity, and my number 5 is woo. So I really, by being, a positive role model and a person within the company and outside of work, I feel that that's just only contagious. And that's by showing the way that we all need to live by that positive mindset. And and just try to, look at, things aren't always happy. I get that, but if we can just try to have a positive outlook and focus on the things that we are thankful and grateful for, I think that we tend to be happier in general.
I do have a question that came to me, so I wanted to ask you real quick before we get off. It says, it's about background checks. So again, we're going to be going into background checks, a semi-annual background check starting on Monday. So be on the lookout for that. It said, will that be for every employee or just those who have been here for a specific amount of time? For example, Jesse and our team, this is from Dan.
Oh yeah.
Started in the last 5 weeks.
So what we're doing the background checks, if you were here prior to 3/31 or prior, is when we're doing the background checks. So if you were hired for one or after, you won't be on this semi-annual, you'll be on the next one, which would be the end of January, beginning of February.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So it happens like every 6 months. Okay, cool. Like that's a good answer. So so you're going to see that felon I just got for breaking into a house. Is that what you're going to see? I'm just kidding. I didn't do that. Dude.
Hopefully not.
There's no proof of that. No, I'm just kidding. All right, last question before we go. Thank you so much, Darla, for taking time out of your busy schedule. I want to say really quick, one day I walked through the office, I saw you on a call with Eric, then a call with Sarah, and then a call with Jackie, and then a call with Ashley, and then somewhere else. And I said, girl is working. She is all over this office. I saw it. I can see you, see it through the office on the screens. So you definitely love Unify through collaboration. I definitely see that too on Kazoo. You're very active in Kazoo, which I love. So you're a kazooter. You are such a delight, Vicki said. Thank you, Darla.
Thank you, Vicki.
Last piece of this, since you are such a unifier and such a resource for people, and you are who you are, what does empowering people more mean to you?
I would say uplifting others, helping them see the greatness in themselves, being a cheerleader, supportive and active listener, taking the time, to invest in others and your team. I really try to be available and a resource, to my team and to help cross-train them and give them new things to learn. And they seem to like that. And by doing that, I think that empowers them, just to be even better in their role. And then they feel appreciated in return, because I'm taking the time, to teach them and to help them become even better at what they do and who they are.
And Dana said that she's so lucky to be on your team. And speaking of Dana, love Dana. So, hey, Dana.
We love Dana too.
But awesome. Well, thank you, Darla, so much again. I'm so glad that we could do this. And just let y'all know again, the background checks will start on Monday. And this we didn't plan this. That just kind of happened. So that actually worked out.
Yeah.
Strategic thing in the end. That was fun. All right. Y'all have a great day. Thank you, Darla, for being here. I appreciate you so much.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for listening.
In a few weeks, we're going to have Alan McNamee on. So he's a hoot and a half too. All right.
Perfect. All right.
All right. Bye, y'all. Have a great day.
Bye.